Hello everybody, and welcome back to Suzerain. We shall resume the game we left off with in part 2. Our goal ultimately is to be killed in our first term by doing things that are correct and admirable, and hopefully trying to turn this nation, Torland, into a democracy. As of right now, our budget is not bad, not good. We have I'm so sorry, not our budget, our economy. Not bad, not good. We have a little bit of excess budget here. We have a personal wealth of 2, right? So, I wonder if this means there are things to do in these areas. Read the report, increasing homelessness. The region is swirling where the homelessness has skyrocketed since it economic recession. The number of homeless in the city is more likely to increase by 25%. Jeez. So we have a humongous homeless problem in this area, okay? A little bit of good news, a little bit of good news. Okay, not good news. So this used to be a major import. I suppose because of the rail lines, right? The rail could come in here from like all sorts of places, and then like just it'd be exported through here. Typically you wouldn't want to see, I assume this goes out to the ocean. Like you wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to drive my boat all the way in to the farthest point physically from where I go out to the ocean. But like this place looks good. Let's hang it right. Boop, land in there. So homelessness, the port is falling behind. It's not one of the best ports in the world, not top 3. Okay, West Virginia, got it. Okay, and then this is lack of infrastructure. So this was malnutrition and productivity. So people out here are getting, they're too hungry to work. And then here, because there's no infrastructure, outside investment firms don't want to come here. So it's like, oh, we would love to have our online business here, but we don't have fiber. It's like dial-up. So people are like, well, that's not going to do good for our online business. So they're kind of avoiding this area. Is this trade relations with another? Oh, he congratulated us. That's really nice of him. That's great. Thank you so much. I have a beautiful flag, too. I love that. And down here. Oh, congratulations. That's very nice. Thank you. Oh, and then up here. Congratulations. Nice. Lovely. On this side of the river. Congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate that. Very, very nice to see that. You did not congratulate us, though. Yes. Relations are bad. Their military is overwhelming. Interesting. Relations are good. Military is weak. Our military, I assume, is also weak. Neutral, weak. Neutral and strong. Ooh. Ooh. If we could hook up with these people below us, that'd be fantastic. That'd be a great opportunity to dissuade these people from taking any type of action. Neutral and strong. Oh, I think these two people were fighting each other. This guy and this guy. And we chose to remain neutral in between them. I guess we should have picked a side. Okay. Well, let's see what's next. Read the report. Okay. People's views on the need for democratic reform in the government structure has changed over the last decade. Reformist propaganda from the leader of the People's Freedom and Justice Party have resulted in a massive increase in the demands for democratic reforms. Okay. And this is great because we are already leaning toward helping this place become democratic. 55% of the population wants to see us turn democratic. It's just the old guard that are fighting this. This is going to be good. We are going to move toward a more democratic society. Meeting on media strategy, briefing on the current economic situation. Before we talk to everybody, let's get an idea about the current economic situation, and then we'll talk to everybody. That makes sense, yes? The maroon room. 2 assistants arrived first, carrying a very heavy projector. They stood with it by the door, waiting for the ministers to enter. From the hallway, I heard Leslie's voice, who was using the patient, almost motherly tone she often took in heated arguments. Gus, do you really think that such an economic advanced area is more in need of investment than Agurland? Oh, I really wish I could go see where that is. This is, I think, the West Virginia area. Alright, what did you say, Gus? Do you really think that such an economically advanced area is more in need of investment? Okay, so apparently Gus is saying that there's an area that needs economic investment, and she is saying that that area, whatever it is more economically advanced than West Virginia, which is right across. It's up here, right? That's the place where there was malnutrition. And then the mayor was go-to location. Yes, right. Remember this? Can I have that? Oh, wonderful. So these people are malnourished, and these people here there's no infrastructure, so we can't get people to come in, right? All right. My interior minister strode in, and she was clad in shades of brown and beige, the only spot of color in a bright yellow star on her necklace. Gus followed behind. Don't be an idiot, Leslie. What about the unemployment crisis? The unemployment crisis the greater Homeland regions are going through. These areas are our economic heartland. Okay. So that's here. That's where we're at. That's the capital. And there's an unemployment crisis. And then here. So these 2 places, not including the port city. These 2 places generate most of our wealth. Okay, interesting. Gus curled his hands into a fist. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development temperature hadn't changed since the days of the administration, but neither had his reputation for getting things done. His far-reaching network of connections was unlike any other. So Gus is a power player. Simon Hoyle quickly stepped between the 2 ministers without looking at either of them. He cleared his throat. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I'm very well and motivated, Mr. Ryan. It seems our ministers are feeling the same. Just as expected. How is it going, Gus and Leslie? I can clearly see that. What was being discussed about? Here's what I want to do with this particular instance. When you have a meeting set, you have an agenda, and you need to kind of work through that agenda because that's what's expected of you. If you get sidetracked with your agenda, then that throws everyone else's meetings off because you didn't address the problems. So even though I understand there's a clear situation brewing between the 2 of them, I need to stay on task. So I just want to do great to hear. Let's begin. I don't want to delve into this situation right now. I want to stay on task, on point. My staff and I have comprehensively analyzed every aspect of. He was interrupted by a groan from one of the assistants by the door, both of whom were now visibly struggling to hold up the heavy projector. Oh, you can put that there. He pointed below the painting, placed it on the table. Leave now. I mean, thank you, and please leave now. But, okay, so yeah, he's just not a people person, but he's good economically. Looking at his slides, he always carried a document around with him. Oh, wait. So Leslie leaned on the table and spoke. Simon, what happened to the new police station construction in Escort? Where is that at? Okay, so this place we haven't talked about either. So they were discussing here, and they were discussing here and here, and now we've jumped to this place and to a police station. It got stalled due to a government property boundary issue. I have been meaning to look at it. I can take a look at that one. Needs all the security help it can get. So now we're kind of learning that unemployment crisis, homeless crisis, the Gulf, the port here is falling behind. There is a police problem here, a crime problem here, malnourishment up here, and what was this one? Lack of infrastructure. Okay. Sure, more time for me to spend on analysis. His eyes glittered when he finally found the slides he was looking for. There have been some developments about the Suzerain losing farther value today. We have been trying to stabilize it with the central bank. The recession of 51 put enormous pressure on the economy, resulting in the collapse of the value of our currency. The entire situation was significant cause for concern in the administration. What would you like to know about the current economic situation? What is our GDP and debt situation? What is our unemployment and inflation rate? What is the status of the recession? Let's talk about first our unemployment and recession rate. Unemployment has skyrocketed. It's now at 16%, and inflation is at 7%. In America, inflation is at 8%. So, you know, the fictional place that has gone to shit and needs everyone to get it fixed isn't as bad as America. I'm sorry. I'm a little angry about that. Unemployment is increasing crime and drug use. We need to get people off the streets. The inflation isn't helping our average citizen either. Okay. Our current GDP is 310 billion and the national debt is 427 billion. So we're upside down. We're upside down. We have more in debt than we're making. That's not the worst thing in the world. Because if that's over 30 years, if we tax 10%, let's just say we tax 10%, that's 31 billion over 10 years. That'd be like a 15-year loan, right? But this is accruing every year though. Yeah. Okay. So really, hold on here. Really, it's about $150 billion we're losing a year, which is still not little, but that's a lot. All right, and then the recession. The economy has been in recession for about -6 in the past year. The average GDP has dropped per capita. Yeah. The administration's success depends on our ability to stop the recession. The sooner we can reach GDP growth, the better. Okay. Now see, here's an interesting take. So this guy is supposed to be like good with numbers, bad with people, and he just said right there, point blank, this administration's success depends on our ability to stop the recession. So if the game was doing us any favors, right? If the game was doing us any favors, when the game up here said that this guy was an amazing economist, or whatever you say, someone who studies the economist, the game is right here telling us that we need to stop this recession. And hopefully, right, God willing, that if we stop the recession, everything else kind of cleans itself up, right? The malnutrition will get better because people are working and it's just GDP growth. He took a final look at his notes before clearing his throat. As you can see, the situation is alarming, but not everything is negative. The extensive privatization program of Alfonso left us a large budget surplus, which we can use to stabilize the crisis. We do have $3 dues up here. The primary subject we need to settle on is what general path we will take in our term. Oh man. Salonomics-based nationalization happened in the 30s, and I find it probably began during the end of the 40s. What will our administration's focus be? One of our main promises was to promote a free market economy to stop the recession. To be frank, I believe it's the only way out of the recession. I still do not support it. Why promote the private sector when we have qualified state-owned enterprises? Because a lack of competition has made that inefficient. Well, here's, I mean, this makes me angry again, because in America we have so many big corporations that there really isn't competition anymore. If you go to buy a cell phone, you're buying an Apple or an Android. That's two choices. I mean, there was Windows, but Windows, backed out. Like, there's different models, but there's different models for the Android, but there's only one model for the Apple, right? So there really isn't a choice. It's between two. Our cable providers where I live for like internet, there's two, right? So there is no competition. So the free market is good, but you really have to have the free market. And by that, I mean, it has to be free. How to say this? The word free market, I guess, is not a very good word for it, because you have to have, like, the FCC is supposed to stop big mergers so that competition remains competitive. But the FCC has no problem letting, like, Sprint or Verizon gobble up tons of smaller cell phone companies, So there's really like AT&T and Sprint and maybe T-Mobile. Like, there's like two or three, right? In some areas, there's only one. So I believe this free market stuff, like, I free that this is a good idea and that it does generate competition. But once you only get three people that own 99% of a cell phone network or an internet providing network, these three people are going to sit down one day and they're just going to agree not to compete with each other and price gouge the crap out of the populace, right? So you have to have a strong government that can break these people up. But usually what happens is something called regulatory capture. Well, let's imagine these three people are on a board together, and the FCC says, oh, you cannot merge your company with another company. These three people get pissed, and they were like, if we could merge this company with that company, our bonuses would skyrocket. We'd have more power and influence. So they orchestrate, between the three of them, they orchestrate this guy getting fired off the board, being asked to leave. He did something bad and he had to go. He leaves, and then he goes to the FCC and says, hey, I know these inner workings of these people. You should hire me to watch them, because I know what their dirty tricks are. The FCC falls for it. This guy comes in as some kind of VP, works his way up the chain, becomes the head of the FCC. All the while, these three people are still friends. Him getting kicked out because of his bad thing, he didn't really do it, right? It was a charade. And this guy now is going to let that merger happen before, when it was a no. He's gonna okay it, and then he's gonna serve for maybe a year or two afterwards, just so that nobody can raise any questions about the merger. It's already happened. It's already gone through. It's already solidified. He resigns from the FCC and gets his position back on the board, and they give him a big fat bonus for going in there and doing what's called regulatory capture. He captured the regulatory business. And if you don't believe me, please look into it, because so many heads of federal branches were once people that same branch was supposed to be regulating, and they, for whatever reason, hired them. It's the stupidest thing, but welcome to America. Anyway, let's keep going. What are the consequences of a free market? The more of the economy we control, the better we can manage the recession. What are the downsides of a planned economy? Humanity in the 20th century is starving because of the rule of supply and demand. Agreed. Look at how quickly have increased their prosperity by embracing these basic principles. Switzerland has potential to do so as well. Why don't we take our potential seriously? Integrating heavily in a market economy would work if we had extensive means of production. Our industry is lacking. So she's saying, Gus doesn't like the free market. He said so back here, right? No, hold on. Oh, okay. So Leslie, okay, so Switzerland has potential to do so well. Why don't we take our potential seriously? And then she says, integrating heavily into, so he likes free market. He likes free market. She is against free market. she's an older woman who's motherly, so she's more of the conservative role. So I assume that's where she's coming from. And it says here, integrating heavily in the market economy would work if we had extensive means of production, but our industry is lacking. So she's making the argument that if we had tons of production, then this supply and demand thing would be cool because we could jump into the free market using this kind of like, and I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but I think it's kind of like China, where if you had a bunch of people who were working at kind of a lower wage, you could compete with other, like you can compete with these two people. These two people, they have a better economy. The standard of living there is higher, but our people, they'd be happy just to not be homeless anymore, right? Like they'd be happy living in an apartment. Where these people, they want the 2 acres of land and the one what do they call it, single family dwelling, right? So we could pay our people less, and we could move manufacturing over here. I think that's what she's trying to say. The structural problems of were going to lead to a recession according to the predictions at the time anyway. Either way, even if we pick one of the doctrines, we retain the option to make economic choices on a case-by-case basis. Perfect. That's it. However, not recommended in my point of view. Okay, that is, however, not recommended in my point of view. The last thing we need is a chaotic economic plan. Finally, something we can both agree on. Yeah, I don't want a chaotic plan either, but a case-by-case basis is not chaotic. If we own, if everything is nationalized anyway, then we can make a, if we see that, crayons, if we tried to make that free market, then there'd be price gouging because all these kids need crayons. Then we're going to retain the crayon production so that we can control the price of that. But if it's a luxury, right? If it's something that we don't really need to control the price on, and people who have money can buy it, and people who don't have money, it's just not for them, then we don't have to worry about nationalizing that. We can just tax it, let someone else, worry about the management, production, and the yada yada yada, like a railroad system, right? Like a light rail system. There's another important point which has direct impact on our economy: superpowers. We have done well not aligning ourselves with any one of them. Good. Economically speaking, an isolationist policy overall could only work if we were to reap the benefits of both spheres and their rivalry. This is very dangerous to attempt, but still possible. We must be very cautious. There are schemes being devised about Sorland. We could not give in to their wants now or in the future, otherwise our country will turn into a pond. Not be controlled by any nation. Exactly. So it was right all along in his policies. I haven't decided if they wish to come to a deal. Time will show if neutral will work out. I like exactly. So it was right on his policy. I'm glad we were on the same page. I hope we won't regret this. Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Mr. will be in charge of informing you on those types of foreign policy decisions. We must first decide on our international economic plan. Okay. Simon puts forward a legal document outlining the possibilities with both economic doctrines listed. The cabinet members look at me. We will have to thank Sol and his planned economy for the boom. It clearly shows the success of the system. Let's finish what started with the capitalist free market reforms. His path is going to enrich us. What's on our long-term economic schedule? Would a free market focus bring us stronger allies? That's a good question. It would look at our country in a more positive light. They are proponents of the free market economy. Okay, who are these people? Who is that? Is it you? Negative. Is it you? Negative. Is it you? Negative. You? Nope. Nope. Are they not listed here? I don't think they're listed here. I don't think they're on this map. So they're a superpower far away somewhere. And if we were, that's like the United States, I bet. Okay. Okay. The influence of the world economy is extensive. Our economic strategy should be based on... Okay. So, this guy... This guy is the plan system. This is free market. When I read this the first time, I thought this meant get rid of the capitalists. Because if you read it, it says, let's finish what Alfred started with, the capitalist free, right? Like get rid of them, get rid of the capitalists. We're going to be free of the capitalists, market reforms. But what it means, and the hyphen shows it, is it's capitalist free market reforms. Okay. The recession has a direct result. Oh no, I said the wrong thing. History must note that reason for the recession was because it was betrayed by his party. It's not true. There was plenty of time for him to do it. If you can't make it happen in 2 years, then you are at fault. Okay. What's our long-term economic schedule? Picking a construction company, trade relations, tax reform, and privatization initiatives would be some of them. Okay. That sounds pretty easy. Sticking to a solid planned economy strategy will be the right call. The 5-year plans were fruitful in the past. Let's move on. What are your final thoughts then, Mr. President? Man, I really wish there was... I've been taking notes. I think I screwed up when I said that the free economy free thing was good. Critical institutions must remain in state control. We must be fully responsible in delivering services. We should look at opportunities like privatization to create sources. A market economy doesn't require as much guidance and could help us attract foreign capital. It's hard to fully agree or disagree with these options. I like the idea of this one. I want to go with that. And that's what stings, is like when you're talking and then you have these points here, like they probably, and they're trying, the game is trying to do it here where they're trying to help you say that you don't like any of these options. But I do like the idea, and I said it earlier, like with the crayon analogy, is that there's some things we need to control. Power, postal service, internet, like those are things that the government should completely own and should provide at the citizenry as cheap and as best a quality as possible, because that is a modern day necessity for doing business. Few could be, and it wouldn't be negative, but either way, you make the choice. So how are our general economic plan promote a free market economy as we promised? Yeah. Can't say that I agree with this. Now that there is clarity on which direction we are heading, I will work on a good plan accordingly. This concludes our meeting. Our next gathering, we will talk about the upcoming infrastructure investment plan. Okay. Ooh. And that is our meeting that we're going to do for today. Geez, there's so much. There's a decision, I think, to me. I think that means decision, and I think that means news. We're at 28 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and call it. There's a lot of reading and there's a lot of like figuring in this game, so I'm not going to just keep going. I'm going to give it a chance to digest. But that's going to be it for this. Oh, what is that little glowy thing? Economy? What? Oh, shoot. I hope that promote market economy. We are promoting a market economy system and advising businesses to shift toward this goal. Okay. I hope that helps us. All right. Bye-bye. I will see you in the next one.